Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
The following podcast is a deep, shallow dive production.
And you're going to love it.
Okay, let's go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Hope you guys are having a good week. Man, is it hot where you are? Southern California has been a scorcher the past few days, like in the 90s and stuff. But I will say my dumbass continues to run in the crazy heat wearing my sauna suit. I'm not even going to lie. I wear that thing. You know, I think because I've got the sauna suit on, a neoprene belt, a wife beater as the first level. Actually, here it goes. Wife beater, which is basically a tank top for those that don't know. But tank top, sauna suit, neoprene belt, and then long sleeve t-shirt. I think because I'm wearing so many layers. Like, imagine wearing that in 90-degree heat and running for 3 miles. That is what I do, and I sweat an unbelievable amount. Anywhere from, actually, lately it's been like 3 to 3.5 pounds difference when I weigh myself before and after runs. Now, again, remember, that's not like fat. That's just water weight that's coming out. But man, it feels good. And I hydrate a little bit before I go run, and then I definitely hydrate tremendously when I get back from the run. So feels amazing. And I'm actually bringing some sweat experts on the podcast. I'm such a huge fan of sweating. You guys need to add this to your lifestyle if you're not sweating. And obviously, most of you are not going to be as big of a moron as I am and run in a sauna suit. Although, if any of you want to, let me know. I'll send you the exact link. I get mine from Walmart. They're like $10, and they last me a few months. I mean, I do go through a ton of these things because, again, you're taking them off and they rip and all that. Not the best quality in the world. But like I said, man, if you want to 10x, potentially 20x your sweat factor during runs, or gosh, maybe even walking. Although, man, that would be miserable while walking because that's going to be such a long process. But during runs, let me know. I'll send you the sauna suit information. But again, sweat, man, sweat. Get to a dry sauna at your local gym if you can do that. I mean, whatever you can do to sweat, that is really the only way and the best way to detox. All right. Anyway, that is that. Okay, couple housekeeping things, and then we're going to move into some interesting stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed the interviews from the past 2 days. Monday was with Phil Turney, and he is a survivor of the USS Liberty. Let me talk about this guy for a second. If you didn't get a chance to listen to that interview, it's only 36 minutes long, and it's from Monday. Phil Turney, first of all, right now is 79 years old. At the age of 18, or maybe 19 or 20, but at a very young age, he was on the USS Liberty. And the USS Liberty was a ship in 1967 that literally got attacked by Israeli forces whom claimed they thought it was an Egyptian ship, which is total BS. It was a complete and maybe one of the first major false flag attacks that was done for a ancillary purpose, and that purpose was to be able to draw the United States or empower Lyndon B. Johnson to give more troops to Israel for that 1967 war. If you do your own research on this, by the way, I did have one friend and he's like, hey, I really enjoyed that episode with Phil Turney, but how do I know this guy's telling the truth? Again, fair question. Honestly, that's a fair question. And I said, hey, why don't you do your own research on it? Look up the USS Liberty. And he's like, well, how should I do that? I was like, well, first of all, you can go into ChatGPT, actually. There's one way. Bring a little AI into the mix. Feel free to go into ChatGPT and ask about the USS Liberty. Hey, ChatGPT, what was the USS Liberty? Is it true that Israel was a part of that? And again, remember, ChatGPT is basically pulling everything from the internet. There's no ancillary sources of data that it's using. So if you're not going to do it, I just did it for you. I literally asked that question. What is the story of the USS Liberty? So here is what ChatGPT said. And again, I'd recommend you try this for yourself if you want to test this out. The USS Liberty story is one of those events that never really left the shadows by design. On June 8, 1967, during the Six-Day War, the USS Liberty, a U.S. naval intelligence ship, was in international waters near the Sinai Peninsula. Israeli forces, both air and naval, attacked it for almost 2 hours with fighter jets, napalm, and torpedoes. 34 American soldiers were killed, 171 were wounded. The ship was nearly sunk. Israel claimed it was a tragic case of mistaken identity, saying they thought the Liberty was an Egyptian ship. Survivors and plenty of later evidence tell a different story. The ship was clearly marked with a U.S. flag. Radio operators called for help repeatedly, and the transmissions show the attackers knew it was American. President Lyndon Johnson recalled U.S. jets that had been scrambled to defend the ship. The official inquiry was rushed and shallow. Witnesses were threatened with court-martial if they spoke out. To this day, the U.S. government has never fully acknowledged what happened beyond the, quote, tragic accident, unquote line. Okay, anyway, do that if you want. Go dig into ChatGPT, Google it, and all that, and you'll basically get that exact same story, which is pretty much what Phil Turney said. Now, how insane is it that this guy was on board that ship at the age of 18, 19, or 20, and he's basically lived his entire life with that? That's really hard, man. That's really hard. You know, I think what's interesting to me as I do these interviews is, here's a guy, Phil, he's 79 years old, right? So I'm looking at him as an elderly or elder person, obviously tremendous amount of respect for him. And I'm talking to him along those lines. But what's amazing is, think about Phil from Monday. And again, if you want to see the video, it's on Spotify and YouTube. Think about that guy at the age of 18 or 19 or 20, and he's on board this Navy ship. He's like super gung-ho, hey, I'm going to join the military. Think about it. Back then in the 60s, man, joining the United States military was like a badge of honor. It was like so amazing to do that. So think about a 18-year-old or 20-year-old, I forget how old he said he was when this happened, being on that ship, and then you're getting bombed. And then it turns out you got bombed by your greatest ally. And then it turns out somebody boards your ship, some lieutenant admiral, and basically says, don't talk about this ever. And he really never did for like 40 years, he said. I think up until the age of, I forget what he said. It was something about meeting his second wife or because of his second wife. But anyway, my point is, it's pretty wild, man. It's pretty wild. And again, you do have to, try to understand, well, what does that mean and what was that all about and why did that even happen? But more importantly, honestly, much more importantly, you have to think, why did they cover it up like that? Why was that not completely something that they got to the bottom of? So anyway, with 9/11 coming up, there's going to be a lot of talk on this. There really is. So anyway, all right. So that was the episode on Monday. Tuesday was with Jeremy Slayton, J Slay USA. Man, I really love this guy. I really do. It was actually reminding me a lot of the conversation with Scott Sieverts. And honestly, if you haven't listened to some of these interviews, I'd really recommend you do, whether it was Scott Sieverts or Dr. Mark Bronner, that was the medical doctor from Gaza, Phil's from Monday, or Jeremy's from Tuesday. Man, I don't know, maybe I'm getting better at interviewing people, but gosh, I thought the episode with Jeremy was so just heartfelt, similar to Scott's. And we talked about a lot of interesting things. And, he's a guy that definitely wears his heart on his sleeve. Gosh, like me sometimes. And so I think that was a good one as well. So anyway, all right, that is a little bit of a housekeeping and a recap. Let me talk a few things today. One thing I want to talk about is President Trump, man. I don't know, something interesting is going on with him, and I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but he has not been in the public spotlight for the past few days for sure, and maybe the past 10 days or so. He really hasn't been, no, maybe not that long. So there's a lot of rumors going around that he's sick, that there's issues with his health. I mean, there was a crazy rumor going around that he died over the weekend. I don't believe that. But there's a lot of talk about his health. Now, I don't know on that front, but what I will tell you, and I'd ask you to keep an eye out for this. There is something going on with his hand, okay? And it would be his right hand. I might have said this a while ago. It looks like there's a burn or something, some type of burn, or honestly, what looks like almost a skin graft type thing. Now, I've noticed it, but then the other last week, or maybe the last time Benjamin Netanyahu was in town, I'm going to try and find this video. I should have saved it, but I didn't. Anyway, they shook hands and Trump covered up his right hand with his left hand while they shook. It was very obvious he was covering up his right hand, and I'm talking the face of his right hand. I'll find that video, but I would tell you this: as you look at interviews with Trump these days, keep an eye out for when he shakes hands with people, or keep an eye out to look at his right hand. The guy wears really baggy suits. I used to think like, God, how is this guy not tailored? Oh my God, he should be like fully tailored, these suits, even though he is fat, like Nick Fuentes said in that one montage of Nick Fuentes going scorched earth on Trump. I don't know why he doesn't wear baggy or tailored suits, but maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe the suit arm being longer allows him to cover up this burn or whatever it is. There's something weird going on with that. And it goes also back to, I can't believe this was not a bigger deal, but when Elon Musk quit Doge and he walked into the Oval Office with a black eye, like that was not fleshed out enough. Hold on, I think I might have a clip from Nick on this. Actually, you know what? I realized I don't think I talked about this enough, because this is weird, man. And this Elon Musk black eye that he had, several months ago, and then whatever's going on with Trump's hand, they're related, man. Not that the two of them happened together, but something's going on. Okay, before I get into Nick Fuentes' take, let's play this. This was the day that Elon showed up with that black eye in Trump's office.
Is your eye okay? What happened to your eye? I noticed there's a bruise there.
Well, it wasn't. I wasn't anywhere near France, so. But
what does that mean?
Really quick, he said, "I wasn't anywhere near France." That was a reference to where Emmanuel Macron's wife, Brigitte, the one that Candace Owens thinks is a dude, slapped basically Emmanuel Macron when they were getting out of a plane. I don't think I really talked about that, but that was right around the same time. It was all this drama that like Brigitte Macron slapped Emmanuel or like shoved them when they were getting on a plane. And again, that's who Candace Owens thinks is a dude.
No, I didn't notice
about the First Lady of France.
Getting slapped.
I didn't notice.
I was just horsing around with little X, and I said, "Go ahead, punch me in the face," and he did. Turns out, even a 5-year-old punching you in the face actually does.
That was X that did it?
Yeah.
X could do it. If you knew X,
I saw his mom right now. But I didn't really feel much at the time, and then I guess it bruises up. But I was just horsing around with the kids.
I didn't notice it actually.
Weird, ridiculously weird that he said that, showed up with that black eye, didn't try to put makeup on it to cover it up or anything. So again, I'm not going to get into this too much, but there is this whole world that believes in these humiliation rituals and basically the things from the Illuminati and all these crazy stuff. I'm not going to get into it, but I will say it was weird. Okay, now I know a lot of you still might not even be that familiar with Nick Fuentes, and some of you are still not sold on Nick Fuentes. And again, it's not like I'm like, super fan for the kid, but I do think he talks about the things that are very uncomfortable and like, things that other people will not even remotely go near because they'll get deplatformed, demonetized, all that. And again, remember, he's at the time of this recording, he's 26. Now he's 27. So listen to this.
Elon Musk went into the Oval Office the other day with a black eye. That's a little bit weird. Elon Musk came into the Oval Office a few days ago for a press conference with a giant black eye. Is that normal for the world's richest man to all of a sudden have a black eye? He said that his kid hit him in the face. His 4-year-old toddler punched him in the face. That's why he has a black eye. In the middle of all this, you're telling me Elon comes into the Oval Office ready to leave the Trump administration with a black eye, and 2 days later he's saying that Trump is named in the Epstein files, and that's normal?
All right, really quick. Again, this clip is from a couple months ago. Remember when Trump and Elon had their bad breakup and it was super nasty? Let's play this out a little bit. I haven't listened to the rest of what he talks about, but what he said in that beginning, I mean, it is not normal for the world's richest man to show up with a black eye. Now, you know what? Just to take the counter of that, I mean, I guess Elon Musk is a regular dude like everybody else is. I'm always saying everybody is just a regular person. So could he have gotten a black eye horsing around with his 4-year-old son? Absolutely. I'm sure he absolutely could have. The question is just, if that happened, why would you do a national press conference like that in the Oval Office with Trump? Why not delay it? Or like I said, I mean, I have to imagine they could have put makeup on there to such an extent to completely cover it up. I'm sure, Elon's got the resources to bring on a makeup artist talented enough to pull that off. So that's the weird part. Again, I'm not saying it's not plausible. Thank you, Ray Star, that it's not plausible in order for Elon Musk to have gotten a black eye, just like any of us could get a black eye. All right, let's play this out a little bit. I'm curious where Nick's going to go with this.
What's more, Elon Musk is taking Stephen Miller's wife out of the Trump administration. Stephen Miller is the deputy chief of staff for policy and national security in the White House. Stephen Miller apparently has enormous influence. He's functioning like the prime minister in the government. And his wife, Katie Miller, was working in Doge. Now that Elon Musk is wrapping up Doge, he's taking her with him to work full time.
All right, I do remember talking about this. That was another theory, was that he was having an affair with that Stephen Miller's wife, and then Stephen Miller was the one who punched Elon. But again, if you see that Stephen Miller dude, he's not punching anybody.
Miller is on the side of the president on the bill. Elon is against, but he's taking Miller's wife with him. Now he's got a black eye. Now he's talking about Trump is named in the Epstein files. This is also happening at the same time that Peter Thiel was named in the New York Times as having received $40 million from Jeffrey Epstein.
All right, I'm going to cut it there. There's like 5 minutes left in that clip. I will listen to the rest of it and see if there's anything good to bring you. If so, I'll put it in another episode. I didn't want to keep playing it because, again, that clip is probably 45 days old. But I will say, the fact that he brought up Jeffrey Epstein, gosh, I should have played these clips a lot earlier. And maybe I did play one. I think I did. God damn, I don't remember what the hell I've talked about and what I haven't talked about. It's all a whirlwind in my head, but you've got to listen to this. This is from an interview Hunter Biden did. And again, this was maybe 30 days ago or so. I may have played something. If not, this is worth listening to. It actually makes you realize, I always thought Hunter Biden was, I don't want to say stupid, but maybe not the smartest knife in the drawer, but maybe he's not. But listen to what he says here.
Jeffrey Epstein was a pedophile that it came into enormous wealth by very mysterious circumstances and had connections across the globe to very, very powerful people. And he was murdered right before it was all about to blow up. And now there supposedly are no files that the American people can see to explain all of that.
I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff.
I mean, it's crazy. Like, do I think that there's an actual list? No, I don't think that there's an actual list. I don't think that he was that stupid. But do I think that what they do have implicates him? Yeah, I think so. You know? I mean, Epstein introduced Melania to Trump. The connections are like so wide and deep. Anyway, why do we think they don't want the files released? I don't know. I think John, that thing that John Hallman says is like a long time ago, I think is the most accurate kind of assessment of them, which is everything is projection or confession.
All right, that's pretty wild. Okay, I will, since we're on the Epstein topic, now, again, that thing drives me crazy because there's a lot of shadiness to that. Now, let's listen to Ian Carroll give a take that I have not heard yet. And man, it takes a set of cojones to give this take.
My gut tells me that Trump swam in those circles as a blackmailer more than a blackmailee. Like, he was raised by Roy Cohn, was one of his number one mentors.
Oh, you think he was one of the guys that
I think he was
set these things up?
Yes. He ran pageants.
Oh, shit.
He bought the Plaza Hotel. He bought Anand Khashoggi's boat. Both were very famous blackmail locations. He swam with Epstein. He ran beauty pageants. So it's like he has all the signs of a guy that understood the industry from the top.
And he had support from his father.
Exactly. And from all of his friends. But you don't get out of that life clean without, like, just the fact that you ran those things, just the fact you were involved in that at all, whatever it is, that is blackmail as well. So he's made some fucking weird comments about his daughter and young girls before. So maybe he's on camera with a young girl. But even if he's not, I think that he lived a life to get him to the power he has today that comes with blackmailable.
All right, that last part got slightly cut off, but basically he's saying he lived a life that comes with things that could then involve being blackmailed for blackmailing others, maybe. I don't know, but that's a gutsy take, man. That is a gutsy take. Regardless, something's going on. Something's going on overall with Trump. I mean, again, you guys know how weird I think the lack of transparency has been with the entire administration. Also, similar to what has been talked about in the episode with Scott Sieverts and then also with Jay Slay. I mean, the administration is not what everyone was expecting. I mean, unless you have Trump worship syndrome, or unless you're somebody who is just going to be the to your grave Trump defender, which again, nobody should be that. Nobody should be that. If you have Trump worship syndrome right now, you're just as bad as all the people that you've been complaining about for the past 4 to 8 years who have Trump derangement syndrome. I really do feel that way. You absolutely have to call a spade on everybody. And those people that can call a spade on really the folks that they like and their team, I genuinely think their head is in the right place on everything. Anyway, all right, that's it. I won't keep you guys much longer. I do have a bunch more clips, but I'll save them. We're at 23 minutes. I know that the Jay Slay episode was about an hour 20. Phil was only 36 minutes. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to Monday and Tuesday, give those a listen. I will try to come back on Thursday. Maybe I'll give you guys a break on Thursday so you can catch up. Maybe I'll play an interview on Thursday because I do have those things in the queue, so to speak. And then come back on Friday. We'll see. All right, that's it. Call a spade. Call your parents. Keep sending me ideas. I am getting a lot of people sending me ideas and thoughts. And by the way, there are a few folks out there, you know who you are. You're like, Ray D, we love the interviews, but we miss hearing your voice as much. I appreciate that. I'll try to be better at balancing that out. I just ended up going on a run of these interviews and man, I'm like backlogged. And the thing with these interviews is I never remember like if I'm talking about dated information. So obviously I don't want the interview to take too long before I release it in case there is dated stuff. So, all right, that's about it. Call a spade, call your parents. Talk to you later.
This episode was brought to you by Zippix Nicotine Toothpicks. Zip more, smoke less. Totally satisfying, discreet, and delicious. Zippix nicotine-infused toothpicks are available in 6 great flavors, each containing at least 2 milligrams of nicotine to curb those cravings. Zippix is FDA registered and proudly made in the USA. Use discount code DSD for 10% off your order at zippixtoothpicks.com. Zip more, smoke less, save 10%.